Hi, thanks for tuning in here today. Today we're going to be doing a nice little fun painting. I hope you can follow along with me. Today we're going to be doing a little more advanced painting, at least the techniques that I think are a bit more advanced. So rather than that, let me have them run the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with me. In the same order I have them on my palette. While they're doing that, let me tell you what I got up here on my easel. Now I know it looks like a mess, but let me take a second to explain. So I have my regular 16 by 20 inch canvas, pre-stretched, double prime, and I have the canvas set to horizontal or landscape mode, however you want to know. And I did a little sketch. You might be able to see it at some spots, but I did a sketch with pencil, and then I put part of the liquid white for where I want a little bit of a sky and a little bit of a stream. Rather than that, it's dry. We're going to be using Bob Ross liquid clear. You can use linseed oil or any other mediums to thin it down without changing the values. So rather than that, I think that says pretty much everything. Let's get started with the painting. So I'm going to go into a little bit of phthalo blue, and let's cut in a good chunk of titanium white. Phthalo blue and white. There we are. And we'll use a 1-inch brush just to block it in. We're just blocking in color right now, so it doesn't really matter. Before I do that, let me add a little more white, and I want to pile it up. That way it's easier for me to grab as much color as I need. I thank you guys for sticking in there. I know this last week I didn't upload, just some technical things and readjusting, but we're back better than ever. And I hope you guys could still follow along and enjoy my content. So let's come up here and just go crisscross. There we are. Load up some color. You can make this more darker to show off more color, more vibrant, more opaque, whatever your heart desires. I saw kind of like a sunset earlier today, and it's funny because I saw a sunset and someone sent me a sunset as well, and so I was like, it's meant to be. I have to do a sunset. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. That's what we're gonna work on today. There we are. And maybe you see the sky peeking out through there. Just little parts. Hopefully, if it comes out just like I imagined in my mind, it's gonna come out really damn good. But there's like those days, like any days, where it's not gonna come out as good. And I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm just saying there's a chance. But that's alright. You just let it and come back the next day. There we are. Just using the same color. And I want to go into a little bit of titanium white on the same brush. And I want to just brighten it up. Shoot. Slightest touch of yellow. Slightest. You don't want to turn it into green. There. Okay. We have that brush nice and dirty now. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to pile up that color. I feel like we might need it down the line. But for now, we'll just pile it up here to the side. It'll keep us company. We're gonna go into a little bit of phthalo blue and some alizarin crimson. I need it to be more crimson than blue. We're doing a nice lavender, and you always see the clouds, and there's like these wonderful lavender clouds, but they always have like that. I'm gonna step into frame. They always have that little bit of orangey glow, but in order not to mud mix, very important. In order not to mud mix, we have to make sure it's much more red than blue. And I'm being very careful not to add too much blue, because then when we add the orange, we're gonna be mud mixing and you're not gonna be happy with me. So look, we'll go ahead, we'll add some white. There we are. And for closer up, we'll get darker as we progress. So I want different values in the purples. There we are. Okay, hopefully we did a well enough job. I have this flat brush that I use to apply liquid white, since I was just gonna apply a little bit, and this is where things change. So I'm gonna use a little bit of Bob Ross liquid clear, and I don't know if it's getting it. I think my liquid clear dried up or something. It had like a top coat. So let's go ahead and just come up here, and we'll just block in what seems to be some of those clouds. There we are. There. Recently I came back from a nice good trip. It's not the reason why I didn't upload, but for those nosy people, I'm not calling you guys nosy, but in case there's people who are a bit nosy, it was another reason why I didn't upload. But like I was gonna say, I took a little trip down to Mexico, and oh my god, sorry about that. The video cut off. I was having some technical issues, but I think we got it solved for now. But as I was saying, well, before all that happened, was I went to Mexico, and God mighty, like there was these wonderful, wonderful sunsets. They looked more gorgeous than these. But I saw this sunset in particular when I came back, and I just fell in love with it. So, for the sake of time and all that for the video, because it also takes up a good amount of storage on my camera and on my SD card and all that, I'm going to speed up this video. It's gonna be the same thing, just look, I'm gonna show it before we switch. On the top, I'm just gonna add a little darker, and maybe here and there where I think little shadows would kind of live. But you still have to add linseed oil just to kind of make it thinner. So let's switch to a time-lapse form. Okay, so after doing all that, this is how what I kind of came up with. And so now I could have kept it with the time lapse, but I wanted to show you guys. It's the same process, but I wanted to show you guys adding the highlights. So let me go ahead. Let me pile these colors to the side. Throughout paintings like these, usually the tones you use, you have to use later on. Not saying you always do, but usually. So I'm trying to just save myself that hassle of having to remix it. So I'll grab some cadmium yellow. We'll do alizarin crimson. Just mix up a nice bright orange. And if you want to tone it down a bit, we can go in with a little bit of white. There we are. Just pile that up. And we're going to go ahead. This time I'm going to use a little bit of liquid white, but you can get away with using uh, linseed oil or liquid clear or whatever clear medium you use. You can pretty much use, and it'll do the same job. So let's come up here, and the light's right here. So I'm thinking it would hit somewhere there. Now, obviously, right here would be the lightest, and it would get the darkest. So we're gonna come back and add another highlight. But all you gotta do is just rub it in, just going side by side, and just a little bit at a time. Don't rush it. If you have to add more color on your brush, more pigment, go for it. It's gonna eventually it's gonna blend the color, but you just have to reload and go back at it there, and kind of fluff it up a bit at some parts, but make it look like the angle you want it to go. So if you angled the notice how this is the lowest point and over here is the highest point, so it's going trying to guide the viewer's eyes over here. If you're doing it the other way, make sure you're guiding the viewer's eyes. Don't take the chance. So we're gonna go ahead and speed this up into a time lapse, and we'll come right back to it. So I just wanted to give a quick note. This is how it would look like if me or if you guys following along at home would just to leave it at this base color. It doesn't really show much. It looks pretty flat. So you gotta go ahead and work with values and see how things work out for the best. So let's go ahead, let's switch back to time lapse, and we'll finish this right up. Okay, so this is how it looks after all the values I think I'm satisfied with. Now, to show you how drastic it can get to like a tan color. I don't know if you could see that, but that's like a tan color. You could use that for a portrait. But the next step for this would be blending in all that stuff. That way, everything just ties in together and just makes sense. So we're gonna go ahead. Well, I'm going to use a 2-inch brush, but you guys can use a simple 1-inch brush. All up to you. But just blend it and bring it all together, just like you would do with your regular cloud on a regular painting. All you have to do is just soften it up and really blend it. Very gentle. And if you need to, you can use a blender brush. Those blender brushes are designed to blend very gentle in case you have too much of a hard pressure. So I'm gonna switch to a time lapse. We're gonna finish this up and we're gonna continue with the rest of the painting, which shouldn't take too long. Just this. So time lapse. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna take a risk. And that risk is, let me mix up a nice orange color that I'm satisfied with real quick before I show you guys rather than telling you guys. There's like a tan, orange, little crimson, little yellow, and a little bit of brown. And just block in a little heavier strokes. If you're not satisfied with something, you have to take risk. And sometimes I try to lure myself away from those risks, but if you don't risk things, it won't pay off. So just wherever I think it's needed. Just doing some heavier strokes. Then I'm gonna go into some light and just highlight it. Look, it's got to the point where it's a skin tone color. It's not even orange. Shoot, we could end the video here and that would be good, just the sky portion, but we're gonna finish this. Whether it's an hour long, whether it's however. But we will finish it. And that's with the time lapse. Now imagine raw time. See, some people cut off the videos. I don't like cutting off videos. I don't mind speeding it up when it has to, but I don't like cutting it off. There. So just have at it. Okay. So now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go into a little bit of lavender and the light blue color we had going on earlier. And all I'm gonna do is just outline a basic little mountain or hill that's out there. There. It's like a grayish, but it has a little bit of a blue tint I won't make it more blue. The orange is coming out, but because I'm pushing the color, but we'll fix it right now. We'll make it fit right in. Okay. With this brush, with the lavender that we had going on earlier, that will knock out any oranges there. Okay. And we'll add smallest touch of blue. Smallest. You can add more, but it's very hard to take away. And some white. And we're just gonna go ahead and add little indications of some light just shining through the hill or the mountain. Just very, very delicate. It's not the main point. There. Now, for the most part, we'll do dark colors for distant trees and all that, but today we're gonna go into our lavender, and we're gonna take a little bit of blue in there. Just mix up a lavender, a little more blue, and a little yellow, and this toned out gray. I just want a very distant green color because it's off in the distance. We don't need something that screams, hey, look at me. We need something subtle. Something that we know it's out there, but somewhere just out in the distance. And just like so. Just tap. Because there's paint underneath, that's what helps it kind of stick on a bit. You gotta scrub it a bit if you want to get that to show. Okay, so we're gonna do a time lapse. All I'm gonna do is that same thing, but I'm gonna angle it out, that way it lures the viewer's eye to the center of the painting. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is, first, before I proceed with anything, I have to mix up a color that's like the color of the distant trees. So I have an example, but also make a good batch. So I'm trying to figure out, and I have to make a good batch before even doing anything. If I do too little, then I'm screwed. There we go. We're getting close to it. I think it's okay. We can excuse a little darker. Plus, if the trees are closer, they'll appear darker. So what we're gonna do is pull our 1-inch brush. You can use a fan brush. I'm gonna use a 1-inch brush. and just wiggle the paint through and pull it straight through. You should chisel the end of your brush. We'll come up here. Okay. There we are. We'll have a somewhat big one. Somewhat. We'll have one right over there. Let me pile up the paint once again. And wiggle and pull through. Let's come up here and just using the corner of the brush, just tap him in. He lives in your brush. This little fella. And the trees look different, trust me, but because of the way the brush is. But this also teaches you how to control the 1-inch if you do it. And you can use your palette knife. It's not cheating, it's just using your resources. Okay, I have to mix up more. So, blue, yellow, give you a vibrant green. Then we'll knock it down with some brown. And then just a little bit of black, just to darken it, but also dull it a bit. And then a bit of white. Now that was too vibrant, so we had to add a little more brown to it, a little black, and we need a little more vibrancy. I killed it all the way. So it's just going back and forth, testing out what works and what doesn't. A little bit of black, just to kind of dull it out and give it that grayish color. There, and a little bit of white. I didn't mix it up well, so now there we are. We'll go up in here and just wiggle some paint. If you have it fully loaded and fully chiseled, it's gonna make your life easier. If you have it half chiseled, it's gonna make it a little harder. There. Just adding a little black to my color. It's okay to change it up. What's not okay is painting and not being satisfied with it. That's the only rule. There. There we are. And so I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown and we'll go into a little more black, and we'll add a tree there, tree there. Gotta chisel the bristles a bit more. We'll put a treat right here, but you know what? This won't be its friend, and we'll have one right there. Just chisel your brush and using the corner just like you would with your fan brush. The one bad thing about this that I would say is it requires a lot of paint. But once you master this, it's not about doing it all the time. It's just you have it in your toolbox, and also it teaches you how to work with stuff that maybe makes you a bit uncomfortable. Look, I messed up a bit. But look, we can fix it. There we are. Unless you've seen the video, you never knew I made a mistake. And people are going to give you more credit than what you expect. So don't be too hard on yourself. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of the work you've done. So we're going to pull a little bit of color. And we're going to do the same over here. Let's go ahead, let's highlight those trees. We're going to highlight them with the 1-inch. And just mixing up your yellow and chisel the brush. Very, very important if you're going to do this with your 1-inch. And just come up here and boop. Let me move out the way. I might be in the way. There we are. Look at that. It doesn't come to life until you put the highlights and all that. There we are. Bada bing, bada boom. And my bristles are a little bit upwards. So it's not me trying to. It's just the way my brush is right now. There we are. Boom. Boom. There we are. Just a little indication here and there. Very gentle, very easy. And we're gonna come up here and do the other side since the lighting is in the center. And we acknowledge that with the way the clouds are. How the brightest part is right in the center. Unless you changed it up, and then you have to view your situation and say, well, my lighting's right here. There. There we are. We're gonna go ahead, highlight a little bit. There we are. Shadows would start to creep right around there. I remember I wanted a very, very thin river/pond. And let's give it a little highlight right here. Boom, 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 boom. And just blend it out. We'll add a little bit of white. There. There we are. Okay, and we can go a little darker, just a little bit. Different values will help make it look a bit more interesting. You can do crisscross and go back and forth. There. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. There. Okay, well, I hate to be this person, but we're gonna have to do a part 2 because this video, I can tell it's gonna be a long one, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but it's gonna be a long one. And also, for what I'm trying to do, I need for it to dry before adding on more and more layers. So we're gonna go ahead, leave this, and we'll come back to it on the next episode. So I thank you for tuning in, for those who always been here for me, and whether or not I upload, check, and whatever, I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And I sincerely hope you guys try this painting out. Although it doesn't look too advanced, it's just the color blending and all that can get tricky at sometimes. So I say give it a shot. Nothing bad can happen. If you don't like it, just wipe it off and you're good to go. Well, this wraps it up for today's video. I really hope you enjoy it. Try this painting out. If you do, send me how far you get in this painting. I'm not going to say send me a photo of your painting because it wouldn't be complete. I like to wish each and every one of you the best of luck, and I'll see you in the next episode to finish this painting off. Until then, take care, my friends. Goodbye.